So, Ishmael, online, can you hear me?
Look at her, how good. All right, we're live?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll get started. Thank you everyone for attending the March 10th Board of Directors meeting for Academy Lafayette. We will start by, I need a motion to approve the agenda as it's been put in front of you.
So moved. That. One past second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No stakeholder comments?
Nope.
All right, then we'll move to, or I need a motion to approve the February 10th meeting minutes
Can
from
we
last
approve
month.
minutes if we don't have a quorum? I think we have to come back once.
Oh, we do have to come back
We
for
need
that
a
one?
quorum to approve minutes. We only have. Yes. Okay.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for that next person. We'll cheer for them when they walk in.
Okay, I'm gonna talk about board elections only, just informational. And then you have the board transition also if you wanna talk about. So, this is the date, the first letter was sent on Friday in the newsletter. Another one is being ready with this calendar. Just want to share with the board and then send it tonight for some kind of request for candidate for the parents' board election. So it's going to be this timeline. We're planning to have the elections on between May the 8th and May the 14th. And the winner will be announced on May 16th. The board will be confirmed at the board meeting on the 9th. Or if you want to do it on the other
Yeah,
strategy
probably.
plan too. Strategy plan would be
Yeah,
on the
we could
14th,
add that
so.
to the agenda for the strategic
So,
plan.
this is the calendars. Any questions?
No?
The calendar looks good. I do think it's helpful in communications to remind parents about it, to let them know what key skills we need on the board, to sort of encourage people with the skills that we need to consider it. So in future communications, I do think that's a helpful piece to ask parents about.
Thank you. So go back to.
Yeah, let's go back
Approve
one.
minutes.
So we have a quorum now.
Welcome, Olivier.
Lost my car keys. My husband took my car keys with him for like this. Uber, the whole drama. So.
Oh, no.
It's okay. It's all good. Thank you.
We're glad you're
But sorry.
All right, so can I get a motion to approve the February 10th meeting minutes, which you reviewed in your board folders?
So moved, Gwen.
All right.
Second, Lisa.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, for governance committee, we wanted to highlight, we had 2 people rolling off the board this year in June. One is Gwen. Gwen is finishing her 6th year on the board and has been phenomenal.
Absolutely
So,
phenomenal.
we are thrilled to have all of your help, but her term, her service on the board will come to an end in June at the end of this year. I will also be transitioning off the board at the end of this year as well, and so obviously both of us have an education background, and so we are in conversations to identify individuals with that background to make sure that that continues to be a perspective that you all have on the board. And so those are things that we are working on, but if you know anybody that you think would be a good fit, definitely let us know, and we'll start connecting with potentially interested individuals as soon as they start this. So.
We will miss you both so much. We've already talked about this, but yeah, I mean, yeah. But you guys have done so much for the school over the past 20 years, feels like.
That's shocking.
I know.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to find
No.
people like you on our our performance committee especially. We need somebody.
I do have somebody that might be interested in the performance committee.
That's good.
Doesn't have the time to do a full board, but might be able to do a committee, so.
Okay, that's good.
We could have that.
Okay.
And then new board policies, I know you wanted to share those.
So I only add the two policies in the board folder, artificial intelligence and the 504 policy. The artificial intelligence was a change, an update proposed by the consortium that we contracted for board policies. The education consultant. We discussed it the last time, and Lauren proposed that we added possibility of using it for homework. So we were also waiting to see what our IB coordinator would bring from the first artificial intelligence conference organized by IBO. So she looked at our policy, said that it's in line with what was proposed by the IB conference. So we are good to go. So the only change that was proposed last time was about the homework part. The second policy, I will let Dana talk about it, but this is the first one. What do we do?
So the school has entered in a resolution agreement with the Office of Civil Rights with the Department of Education for a matter, and that resolution includes changing our policy to reflect what we were already doing, but we did not have the policy regarding how 504s are handled, particularly when a student comes to Academy Lafayette, either with a 504 plan or figuring out, does that student need a 504 plan? And we just so we took the opportunity to look at what we had on paper about 504, but also SPED, because it's very similar in terms of the school identifying students that need support. And so we also looked at the policy recommended by the Department of Education on those issues and have incorporated that information, the policy that's been presented, with the hope that it will meet the requirements of our agreement. So typically what happens is the board approves a policy. After you approve it, we submit it to them. They may say, oh, we don't take that out and put a then, or usually it's not substantive. And then that becomes the official policy. So what I would ask is that you approve the policy subject to the acceptance by the Department of Education. And if it's not a substantive change, that you allow us to make those small tweaks. If it's like they're going to change everything, we're going to have to wear neon underwear, something like that.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, well, if it will get them off of our back, we might. But at any rate, the hope is that what we have presented to you all will be, for the most part, acceptable to the department. So, if you have questions about details, I'm happy to answer, but that's the overarching of what's going on.
And part of the agreement is also training the teacher about additional policy. And we're planning to do it on March the 24th when we come back from the spring break.
Yeah, and I think once we submit this, complete the training, there may be one small task left, but I think we have checked all the boxes and we will have fulfilled the agreement, and they can go on their way and we can go on ours.
All right, so do we need to vote to approve both of these? Yes. Okay, so let's start with the artificial intelligence. It's in the board folder. So looking for a motion to approve the artificial intelligence policy with the changes made from our last meeting.
So second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then the 504 policy update, I need a motion to approve this with the condition that if there are slight tweaks based on when it's submitted that aren't material, that then this vote carries through. Otherwise, it will be brought back to us with any of those changes. Did I say all the words I need to say?
You checked all the boxes.
All right. Can I get a motion?
So moved, Gwen.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay. Any discussion on this? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That one, that one.
Starting with accounts payable for February 2025. On screen are the highlights that we talked about in our finance committee meeting, also in the board packet or the board prep folder were the full set of accounts payable transactions. One thing that we did talk about was the Midwest bus sales. That's one of the buses that we actually purchased with the comprehensive bus plan that we presented to the board a few months back. And so that's one of those buses. There's two more that are on order, and the total that we have on order is $268,000, which we budgeted $300,000 for those three buses. So we're coming in under budget on that. Right now, we have a total of 13 buses. Like I said, there's still two on order that will be here later this month, so we'll be up to 15 buses. One bus was totaled back in January, so when we replace that bus, we'll be up to 16. And then with the electric grant, the 4 buses there, that would bring us up to 20 buses. We do have an old bus that was still part of the first 7 buses that we purchased for $70,000. It's bus 301 is what that one is, and we'll probably plan to replace that one or at least decommission it. But those are the highlighted transactions that we had talked about within the finance committee. Did anyone have any additional questions over the accounts payable transactions?
We talked about the title.
Also, Mr. Bang mentions here the Alliance Title Company, $6,800 for a bus lot. We've identified a bus lot that we've put escrow money down on, and the total purchase price on that's $340,000. We had in the comprehensive bus plan $495 for the purchase of the lot and then prepping the lot. The lot has a building on it that will serve as an office. We do have to. There's a fence existing, but we'll have to put a fence up. But more to come on that once we close. But moving along on the comprehensive bus plan, one thing that we also talked about was just giving you an update on kind of where we're at on that comprehensive bus plan that we're working on. So, any other questions?
Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the accounts payable transactions for February?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
From a high level, the amount the school has received during January is more than we spent by about $490,000. If we look at that year to date through January, it's 1.5 almost. The main driving force there is the amount per WADA that we're receiving. It's more than what we budgeted. We budgeted just about $12,400, but we're being paid on $13,300, and so there's a $900 per WADA difference there, and that's what's driving that $1.5 million cash flow. Standing up here. So these are the financial statements that head office puts together for us. We talked quite a bit about just some of the variances that we have going on, mainly the expense variances that we have, and notice that For salaries and benefits, we're running a surplus year to date, just about $400,000 in each of those categories, and that's from vacant positions or partially filled positions that we have. So we talked about that. We also just talked about what goes in each of the categories that are represented on the financial statements. But another one that we honed in on was just facility improvements. Right now it's trending surplus. However, with roof updates and transportation capital, that particular category we're forecasting as a deficit for just that category. It's those 3 things there. Any questions over the financial statements for the month of January? We actually had a special finance committee meeting earlier in the month, or at the very end of February, that is, and it was to look at the fund balance, and we had previously talked about this policy 3114. And within that, it just talks about how to use the fund balance that we have. We looked at prior operating expenses and the target percentage of operating expenses. And we looked at the amounts that correspond to those percentages as well. And so part of that policy talks about looking at the prior year operating expenses and a target range of those operating expenses. So 12% of 18 million is 2.2, up to 20% is almost 4 million. And so we talked about, we're looking at spending $3 million of that fund balance. And we looked at some of the needs that we have, the priority list, and we identified, obviously, the roofs that we have, HVAC, and the windows. But we also noted that with the bond measure coming up, that may completely change up the landscape of that priority list. So we're looking into that, but it's an ongoing process. And then lastly, we looked at and considered the impact on the fund balance percentage. And so if we project fund balance on the right-hand side there at the end of this year to be almost $7.5 million, and we spend $3 million of that, we'd have an adjusted fund balance perhaps at the end of next year of $4.5 million. And if we divide that by the estimated Fund 10 and Fund 20 expenses, that gives us what our fund balance percentage is, and that'd be close to 20%. So we'd still have a healthy fund balance percentage if we use up some of these reserves that we've built up over the last few years. So again, it's still an ongoing process. We're trying to get it teed up, ready to go. If the bond passes, if it doesn't, just trying to get our ducks in a row on that.
I'm curious, I know there are some unknowns related to education funding.
We talked about that too.
We did.
So keeping those in mind, and I don't know at what point that will become more clear as to changes from state or federal that may be coming down the pipe.
And one thing we talked about was having some budget scenarios or presenting maybe 2 different budgets or maybe three different budgets with if it goes this way, if it goes that way kind of thing. Yep. So we are thinking about that.
And just so you know, Beth, right now the trend seems to be in the other direction because we're anticipating a substantial increase in water next year again. That would result to, even with the uncertainty at the federal level, it seems like at the state level we might have a nice windfall. So we're not going to spend it tomorrow, but we're going to be budgeting both upsides and downsides to reflect the uncertainty in both directions, knowing that the upside is likelier than the downside at this point.
Any questions over that before we move to the next item?
Is everyone comfortable with kind of where those levels are?
Appreciate your attention to detail. Thank you, and thanks for clarifying. Appreciate it.
This is just a housekeeping item that we have. So the UMB account, we need to update the signers on that. So we have an investment account with UMB, and then we also have a business checking account. That business checking account, it really it's a standalone that we still receive some annual fund revenue from Banco, and so it was designed for like capital campaigns several years back. We just haven't closed it. We could certainly use it though for like capital renovations at Oak or something like that. So there's about $50,000 in that business checking account. But we would need a motion to update and add Michelle Markham and Olivier Rio to the school's UNB accounts.
No move. Second.
All in favor, or any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, me. Hi. Thank you.
I'll just steal Stephen's spot. All right. This month we will talk about the bond updates, this month and next month, and then just some event updates to get everyone, to just get that information out. So, bond report. So just some community updates. We have had a couple of parent information sessions, and I call them parent information sessions, but really they're community information sessions. Anybody in the community is welcome to come to these. We want to make sure that everybody who has an opportunity to vote understands what they're voting for. So we had one at Oak 2 Wednesdays ago. We are having another one tomorrow at Cherry at 6 p.m. Again, it's in person and it is open to everybody. Mr. Bang and Michelle will be presenting, correct? Perfect. Election day, just a reminder, is Tuesday, April 8th. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is the voter registration deadline. That is just information we've been trying to make sure everybody is aware too. And then parent engagement, just a reminder, we've got a handful of parents who are involved with getting our community information out to our community. So Chelsea Booth, Michaela Stevenson, Jeremy Foster. They are asking for parent engagement across all 3 campuses. So to anybody who might be listening, those are some contacts you may reach out to as parents and community members. Just some fast facts here. The bond is a $474 million bond if passed. 424 will go to KCPS and 50 million is split across 9 charter schools, including us. 13.6 million is what we will receive, and we have a large list of priorities. I think we've talked about those a few times, but we will be ideally working on those priorities if this gets passed pretty quickly after passage.
How was attendance at the Oak?
There were about 20 in person, and then we had a lot of follow-up afterwards for the recording and slides. Awesome. And requesting parent engagement and who they contacted that. Yeah.
And there was good engagement at the parent-principal coffees.
Great engagement there, yes. Yeah, it was shared. Thank you for that reminder. It was shared at both all 3 of the parent-principal coffees last week. A lot of attendance, a lot of great questions around what the school will be doing with that funding, how KCPS will be utilizing that funding, and just some of the information around the bond. Yeah, it was great.
So I think a couple things, if I can jump in.
Of course.
I was going to cover this in my president's report, but I'll just add to it.
Closely involved in all of this, so please
Well, I think just remember Kansas City, Missouri residents vote. That point there about it requires, 4 out of every 7 voters. It's not just a simple majority because it's using taxpayer money. So, I can't tell you how to vote, but just we want people to show up and vote. I felt like I had something else to say, but I don't remember now. So,
I thought it was interesting based on projections of how many people typically turn out at April, right? This is just a special election, so it has very low. I think the estimate that I recall hearing is we need 9,300 people to vote yes. Mm-hmm. And with that, we can probably get it to pass. It's like we can find it.
Yeah, based off of some numbers around traditional off-cycle elections like this. That's not the correct word for that, but it's typically around the amount who show up versus what we would need of this percentage is, 9,300.
Right. We have around 30,000 students enrolled in public schools who will benefit from.
Yeah.
I think there was a discussion in the Finance Committee meeting. Harriet was talking about how a good chunk of the KCPS money is going to go to the renovation of Southwest High School, which would be also interesting for the Brookside crowd. Just, direct impact on their neighborhoods. That might be another argument to bring up for those who might be interested.
I'm not sure everybody sees that as a positive.
Yeah, not everyone.
Well,
And, but yeah, I think it's great for the community, not everybody.
Yeah, there has been a lot of discussion on, different neighborhood sites and everything about that, but I don't think anybody thinks that the kids don't deserve better facilities.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions about the bond? We will give another update obviously next month, and then should it pass, we will make sure that is part of our discussion as well. Mostly.
I think our next board meeting is after the.
That's what I was looking at.
Is it the week after?
I think
It is.
so, yeah.
It is.
I think it's the
Okay,
week
I was
after.
thinking it was the Monday before.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will have an answer by the April board meeting, where this stands.
But the parent engagement has been really great. Chelsea and Michaela is listed, but there have been others that, and if you go to the AL social media, there are posts that are very easy to share and tell people about.
Yes.
The participating charter school also, we have a video that we need to share with the community.
Oh, saw that today. And then there's also an interview happening here tomorrow with KSHB. They're coming in tomorrow afternoon to interview Mr. Bang and a student and a teacher about this as well, and the benefit that we would have if it passes. So yeah, stay tuned. We will make sure, I will ask Michelle to share that link with the board, but we'll make sure that you have that information as well.
Yay.
Okay, and then the last two updates, just to keep on your radar some large development events that are occurring, and then kind of sandwiching the board or the election. The Musketeer March is occurring April 2nd through 4th. Our gross goal for that is $106,000. It is a 7-day fundraiser, so we are kicking that off. We partner with Booster on that, so just a reminder that is a third party. We do some of the funding from that gross goal goes towards them helping coordinate, but they do a phenomenal job and help raise a lot of money here, necessary needed money for our school and improvements and our annual fund and some of those unrestricted funding needs that we have. So 7-day fundraiser is coming up pretty quick. Pretty cool update we are doing here at Armour this year is our middle school will be doing a color run for that. So should they raise $12,000 which is what they raised last year for the Musketeer March, everybody in the middle school will be able to participate in that color run. And if you don't know what a color run is, it's people, the booster, teachers, we get to take color powder and throw it at the children as they're running around. And they love it. I wish I should have put a picture up here. We did it at Oak Field Day last year, and it was really fun. And the kids will have white shirts, so they'll just come away with, lots of fun color on them. But it's just, something for the older kids. We're trying to think of creative ways to get them involved in fundraising for their schools as well. And then Evening in Paris, our gala or auction, $130,000 gross goal. That's taking place April 12th, so 4 days after the election. Tickets and sponsorships are on sale now. I will say tables were sold out within hours, so that was incredible. But individual tickets do get you a seat, and you will be at a table. The table that we have reserved for those who wanted to purchase a whole table sold out, but tickets are still available. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Do teachers get to come to evening and parents?
So there is a staff discount, so they can purchase either tickets for themselves at a staff reduced price, or community and family members can purchase tickets for them at that price as well.
I would like to buy 2 tickets for
Great.
staff.
Yeah.
So this
Thank you,
grant.
Dana. I will. Thank you so much. That's incredible.
Thank you, Dana.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. How close are you to selling out on the tickets?
Oh boy, really close. I think our seated capacity is 300, and I think we are at like 280.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. I know, it's great. So we're
That's
going to be in
great.
a bigger venue, and we have a lot of excitement around table sales too, which is guaranteed money. And so I would love to have a venue where we could just have as many tables as people want to purchase, because we do mark those up at a higher cost as well. So a lot of really great excitement around it this year. Okay, thank you.
Great.
Okay, this is the performance committee. This month we are looking into the applications for the lottery. And then in April, we will know the exact numbers we have, how many accepted, and how many will be in our kindergarten. So this is the application by grade level, and also the breakdown, demographic breakdown. First one is pre-K, 24 applications. We're taking 20, and there is 83% of minority. And for kindergarten, we have 194, and 43% are minority. And first grade is, we have first grade 16, and 63% are minority. And ninth grade, we have 33, and 79% are minority. So at the lottery, we already offered all for pre-K, K in first grade, and 10 for ninth grade. So this is the numbers over the years for the last, how many years, 7 years. I see 353, 360, 270. So the break thing is the COVID and the next year. So we've always been struggling since then to get to where we need to get. So our objective is to get to 300 applicants to be able to make sure we get 220 because of the not, how do you call it, those who will not accept. That makes 300 applicants. So the key takeaway is kindergarten applications slightly trending, as you see, down from the last 3 years. And this is not, this is a surprise for some, for others no. Remember, I shared with you a study done by, commissioned by KCP and the charter schools about enrollment trends in Kansas City. And they projected that enrollment for pre-kindergarten in India is going to go down. They projected that our school enrollment will go down last year, but we went up in fact this year. So we will see how it's going to go. In any case, we will need to change our outreach approach. Because so far we have been putting all our efforts in one area, and we need to analyze which demographic went down more or not. And then based on that, we need to see how we can go for enrollment. There's going to be some study I'm doing with Robin, who is the Director of Admissions and Outreach, analyzing the enrollment breakdown by demographics and by ethnicity and race, and then see, and also look at zip code too. But in any case, there's a study that shared last year, if you want to have it, I can share with you too, projecting enrollment going down. So another thing though, for my own analysis, I I always check first grade, because first grade is where the change is happening. So you may be down in kindergarten, depending on how many attrition is happening, your 20 can backfill and move forward. So you won't be changing anything, only in kindergarten. So, but we need to be watching how first grade is doing, because after first grade, we're not taking new students. And if you lose that, you may be having an issue with the rest. Third observation is our school always took, prior to the expansion, we used to take 120, meaning 20 per class. So that's what we took for many years. For the expansion, because of at the time when we were planning for the expansion, the WADA was low. And the only way we would be able to assure sustainability is to add more kids in kindergarten and so on, making sure that the economy of scale will be sustainable. So we may be just fine getting back to our 20, but that would be, of course, we may have to make the projection for the next 5 years, but so that might be, because again, our first projections when we did this expansion, the very first one, all those discussion was around 20 for kindergarten. It's only after we change it. I think everybody will be happy anyway. It would be fantastic. But again, it is not a final solution. The final solution is understanding the applications and then seeing which demographic is going down and revising our strategy for outreach. And that's going to be what we need to do. Second thing that we need to do is our retention rate last year was very high. I mean, was where we want to be, around 5% or less. So I think that that's those two areas that we need to focus on: retention and also recruitment. And retention, of course, is about having good facilities. I mean, taking care of kids who are struggling. We've already made some effort for next year. We are hiring 2 professional reading interventionists as teachers. It's not at the paraprofessional level. But we have one at Cherry at Oak who's doing a fantastic job. She's a teacher, was a teacher, English teacher, and became a reading interventionist. And is doing the letters training. Letters training is the reading program that is being recommended by state, by almost everywhere. The letters is the phonics based. So what we're trying to do is, next year we'll have at Cherry a French speaking and an English speaking reading interventionist, which will be trained for letters. And the following year we'll hire a French one for Oak, because Oak started having a professional reading interventionist who's doing again fantastic job, great lady. So that's how we think, also helping kids read, cut down on any failure, but also making sure our classroom environments and our windows and our furniture are everything great. Because again, part of our competition are the private schools. So we need to know that. I think that's what I have to say. Any question, comment, suggestions, concern?
I mean, one thing I would remind people of that a few years, I don't know what year it was that the common application started, but now families that apply can just mark across the board, I want to turn in an application to all the charters or whichever charters they want. And so what we don't know yet is of the 224 applications that we have, how many believe Lafayette is their first choice. And so I know, and what's the deadline for families to say?
2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we'll have a better sense of who's accepted, sort of the seats to know where we are.
There's also one thing I wanted to bring up. So, when it comes to retention, I think we're making a lot of great efforts to invest in helping the kids who are struggling the most. I think it's positive. I wonder if it might be also interesting to look at the kids who are not struggling, maybe the kids who are doing well, and giving some attention to them as well. Maybe, I think there might have been a gifted program in the past at the Yale. And I wonder if we might not be losing kids, especially at the middle school level, kids who are doing great but may not be challenged enough or may not feel like they, if you think of a convention as being the private school, certainly that's one area where the private schools are doing well. So.
Well, thank you very much. I don't remember having a gifted program. I've been there for never. So I've been there for 13 or whatever number of years. We never had it. But, and I think you're right. When we're serving, we should be serving everyone, moving everyone up. But one thing we've done with that, when I arrived here, we added Spanish and Mandarin to make our kids start in 6th grade. We did not have Algebra 1, believe it or not. So it was a fight to have Algebra 1 and generalize it. So, and then for advanced kids, my first 2 years, what would happen was those kids who were advanced would go to Santa Teresa at 7 o'clock, took the Algebra 1 class and come here at 8 o'clock and continue. And I said, no, we need to put Algebra 1 here for kids who are advanced. We even offer, depending on where the kids are, geometry for 9th grade. So anybody who's advanced, we move them to where they are in terms of mathematics. English also, we offer English 1. And then we introduce also robotics, something that we introduced for kids. It was years ago where we put it as part of a program, not as part of a after-school program. We started with as being a part of the program, so every kid will be able to at least know the rudiments of coding and doing things. Now it moved to an after-school program. But we can continue to think about how to address how private schools are doing, and then the clubs, and what kind of program we can introduce for our kids to be challenged. And IB is also extremely challenging for especially kids taking full IB. Is a lot of work.
Yeah.
So they're extremely challenged. But again, you're right, we need to look at what other things that
I think when we do it, how we market it, how we communicate to people so that everybody is aware of it in the community, of all what those programs are available and how you can get into that.
But again, it has been a conversation. By the way, for advanced kids, we move it from 8th grade to 7th grade. Now, once you get to 7th grade, you have the possibility of taking advanced mathematics. And if
so we're starting that this year?
Oh, we have done it for years. That's what we've been doing. There's only 1 year where it was interrupted. I think it was last year or somewhere like that. But we still have advanced kids in 7th grade. Some 7th graders are taking 8th grade math. Those are the same kids who, once they get to 8th grade, they took Algebra 1. And we have had years, again, I think 2 or 3 times where kids who are in 7th grade are taking Algebra 1, meaning high school, and 8th graders taking geometry. So we've done that also. Wherever the kids are, we try to meet them with that. But again, our problem in the school, though, if you look at our test scores, there's a huge gap between those who advance, because we have a lot of kids who advance. I think we might be one of those districts who have more percentage of kids, advanced kids. It's based on we were talking about 36% advanced. So the second one is the kids who are behind. So that gap, moving them is our biggest challenge. But I think we are one of those districts with more high percentage of advanced kids.
So I think to Olivier's point, making sure families know what kind of things are offered.
Whether they use it or not, I think it's good for the school to be perceived as being, school where we're pushing all kids at all levels.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And
I'm not aware, as a board member, I'm not aware of all these programs that you're listing, and I think it'd be interesting. I'm sure there's other people in the community who are not either.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, sometimes I said people think I'm joking, but I'm not. It's one of the best educations that public money can buy. I mean, people don't realize, because I've been around the country and seen a lot of schools. Okay? I mean, it's an amazing program. Unfortunately, as you said, probably we're not selling it enough. People don't even know what the value we're doing. So
Yeah.
they may not know it. But it's fantastic. That's why all these private schools are fighting to get our kids. They want our kids. They all tell you our kids always outperform anybody. All these high-performing private schools. They were nervous that we have high school. So, but again, coming back to our thing, we need to hopefully by the time, by the time school starts, we'll know, because last year we had a lot of kids who applied between the lottery and when we opened. That's why we were just fine.
Yeah, and I think they're anticipating just around Kansas City, a lot more applications coming through in the summer.
Yeah, and I heard also some complaint about the new software, but I don't want to blame it on that. I just want to make sure that we understand there's a downward trend and we need to do something. Okay, this is an interesting one. I asked Dana to come, and then we had a very nice meeting last time, and some concern. We were not able to do the Parents Academy. Do you want to speak about?
Yeah, so we were going to have our Parent Academy last month, but due to the new administration changes with the DEI, we decided that we needed to kind of speak with Dana in regards to some actions and things that's changed and what we can and cannot do. And so with that, we did postpone our Parent Academy for that reason. So our plan is to try to meet with you, Dana, this month with our diversity committee to kind of see what actions that we can take and how do we handle it going forward.
Okay. So I'm traveling, I think on the 24th.
Yeah.
But I said I could at least give you all a preview.
Okay.
So, charter schools got from the Charter Association, the Dear Colleague letter. I'm presuming other school districts got the same thing. There are a few pieces to it. One, you can say diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's called free speech. It's banned from saying that. So let's start there. So it's like you all can no longer say the word movie.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So that's first.
Okay.
The second part is any kind of discrimination is still illegal. So there's that part. The question is, where it gets furry, is are your programs excluding or a certain type of student or family? And there is this really gnarly, touchy-feely kind of language about making students feel unwelcome or that it's something's their fault or demeaning them. And so just being very, very blunt, I think what they're saying is if you're saying all of these bad things happen because of you white people, that's gonna not fly. If you are setting up programs that target a particular type of student based on race or gender or ethnicity, that will be subject. If your program is to make sure every student here is welcome and supported, and you can show that, you can call it whatever you want. And so I think that's people are just like, I gotta clear out everything on my life that has ever had the letters DEI. My initials were DEI, I changed my name. It's pull up, just breathe. you are still allowed to have a program, you just need to look at what is that program doing?
Okay.
And who is it supporting? You need to target it at only certain students, both good and bad. And so if your program is supportive of everybody, yeah.
It makes sense now.
Does that help?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I'm gonna try to jump in. I have 3 meetings with you all at the same time. So I'm gonna be doing this. I'll have my phone, I'll have my laptop, I'll have my computer, and I'll be ducking and dodging between them. But I will try to be on there to try to help you with your questions.
Okay, because I know, a big part of it was, do we have to change our name? Do we have to do all this? And so.
Do you have to, the board committee, diversity committee, do we need to keep it or do we need to call it something else?
So let me say this. Obviously, because people are running and screaming about it, the question is, do you want a target on your back? So, I've heard all types of different language, from belonging, creating an atmosphere of atmosphere of inclusion. People have played with, and I can give you I went through the SARS, my parents about 50 years ago, and looked up all the other words that we can use that are not inflaming. And so I can send that list to you, or I'll send it to you, Michelle, and you can distribute it accordingly. Again, we can say the words, but do we need to be a target? That's up to you.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And that's mainly that even if we didn't do anything wrong, and the waste of time of being targeted and then having to bring things. If you've ever done an OCR one time, it's a lot of work, a lot of time we were wasting. And then 2 years ago, not 2 or 3 years, there is one organization who is a conservative organization that always sends us a list of how many words, 100 words, that if anyone in your document has these words, you need to send me that document.
Oh, yeah, we had a sunshine request.
Yeah. We have had it a couple of years ago, so that they give you a whole list that anything about, if you have a document, you have DEI, you need to send it, all kind of things. So it's happened. So at the end of the day, I don't think we do anything illegal. One thing though, that I had to change temporarily until otherwise advised. Remember, one of our goals is at least 27% of our population will be low income. You see what I mean? So that might be, and the lawyer at that meeting told me that it might be subject to attack or something. So I took it out.
Yeah.
Because it's too specific, the number in objective.
Yeah, it looks like a preference or something like that. We are trying to get 26% or 27% of our enrollment to be from different socioeconomic, low socioeconomic students. So I have to take it out.
I thought about you all in particular because I know there's a great deal of effort on trying to make sure the school reflects the community that it serves.
Yep.
And that's, that's where we can get into trouble. It's gotta be people that have to feel like it's not targeting a particular community based on race or gender or ethnicity. So that is a challenge, particularly for your school, because there's been so much criticism.
Right.
Some of it very false. It was based on people's perception as opposed to the actual numbers. But you all have been battling that, and so how do you walk that line?
Yeah, but can we say reflects the community that we serve? We can say that. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's what the change I made on the study plan. That's the same thing I did too. Put that, but take out anything that looks like you were targeting one community or not.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing for our teacher evaluation too.
And I'm trying to do some research on, can you even highlight, like we highlighted what the number of applications and what that looked like. I'm not sure we can even do that without it looking like we're targeting particular population.
Ah,
You mean like in the report that we just saw, for example?
yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything.
So we can
but-
report the number but not highlight it.
Okay. Oh, we can still report it.
We can report it internally just so we know what our
Yeah.
student population looks like.
But we have to
wanna know how many.
Report the whole population.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
And so that, one of the schools already does it by every ethnicity and gender. They have it all.
Yeah.
And so nobody's highlighted, it's everybody. So I'm trying to see if that's gonna be something I recommend to folks, because we don't wanna get caught in somebody's crosshairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we we said something that somebody can interpret, because you've got so many watchdogs right now. Everybody wants to be on the news.
Yes.
And there's a website created just for that. There's a website, at the Department of Education, encouraging anybody to report.
Yeah.
Schools.
Yes.
So,
Go through all that survival, that's the hard.
yeah, we don't want to waste our time on something.
Is it also new, because we have goals around decreasing the achievement gaps of our subgroup, right? And so, do we have to think about that differently as well?
So again, I think it is, anytime that we are isolating or highlighting a particular entity or type of student, we run into that issue. But if we're just saying, here are all our students, and here's how they did
Here's the
it,
breakdown. Okay.
by gender, ethnicity, age group, class group, then it's, whatever I'm looking for is there. Whatever you're looking for is there. But everything is there, not a particular type of student.
That's just everything,
And there is, this is all based on that Harvard case, Harvard and UNC case that the Supreme Court ruled on 2 years ago now, or coming up on 2 years. And they had expanded some things the court didn't say. It's like, the court said yellow, and people were like, every color of yellow in the world. And it's like, well, they really just said lemon yellow. Back up, people. And so, but there is some, from a legal standpoint, some validity in what happens when you target an ethnic group as if they are not capable. That was some of the argument that was made. And I get that. I do get that. And how we're doing this is wild. But I do understand that the presumption that if it's low income, it's a certain ethnicity, or that they don't have the capacity, or that we always have to have set-asides to let that group get in. I get what you're saying, but it doesn't include enough factors as to why that is. And are we missing good people because they haven't had opportunity? So, I don't know.
I have a question. It is widely used, the term, and I heard it, subgroup. And subgroup can be offensive. And so when I was running the school, we did not use the term subgroup, but the state does. And we would say, various student groups, priority groups, but now maybe that's getting extra attention to a group, so somebody could appeal to that. But I knew that I didn't want my children, although they are achievers, would be a subgroup. So that was a term. So what should be used in the think of a word?
Well, I think it's so in flux right now and fluid, and someone sent me, a colleague sent me a newspaper article from college higher ed.
Like college graduation.
Yeah, thank you. And so, but it's still a lot of it's applicable. And just some of the stuff, and then I was like, really? That's what y'all think? You know, so even when you're talking among the folks who do this, we're like, oh, I would have never seen that coming from this. So it's very fluid. I mean, and the reality is, we don't even know if we're gonna have a Department of Ed at the end of this. I mean, in May, will we even have a DOE? So if we don't have a DOE, who's gonna get us the money? Who's gonna fund title? How do we, you know, we have a system in place that they're dismantling without it feels like a thought to, what are you gonna replace it with? Who's gonna write these checks?
Right.
To our state, so our state can pay, but like, it's just wild right now. So everything I say kind of with a caveat, like, well, today,
Yeah.
we're doing X, Y, Z, but I can't tell you what we'll be doing on Friday. So this, I think right now is we have to lean into common sense. Unfortunately, common sense is not that common anymore. And so here we are. True. Yeah. True.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always the bearer of
It
good
is
news.
exhausting. That's
No,
the
it
only
is
word.
exhausting.
Yeah.
50 days in today.
Yeah,
50 days in.
definitely very much.
Good. Recognition, teacher, staff recognition for Cherry Building. Thank you to Kate Lee, a Cherry parent who for transforming an unused space into a quiet calm for kids.
Oh, wow, those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Somebody painted that?
I heard some others go and have a nap over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Beautiful. Okay, for Oak Building, we appreciate and commend all the teachers who volunteered to present a lesson during our February lesson study. So we do, lesson studies are essence where teachers present and other teachers are watching and comment. That's what it means. So we have Michael Adams, Sheila Rowans, Samia Alilash, Sandrine Monengo, Agnes Paré, Françoise Gewada, Pierre Kaba, Marie Mope, and Beth Siegel. All these teachers presented their lessons, shared their lesson, and other teachers watched. Their willingness to be open, share your expertise, and create a space for collaborative learning is truly admirable. Thank you for your commitment to growth and excellence.
Great.
And for our building, I recognize our first year middle school teachers. You are an extraordinary team of colleagues. Your caring and engaging instruction are making an impact. You are indeed rock stars. Dr. Evelyn Dio is a Spanish teacher. Emma Bernat, or Ibernat, I'm reading it in English. Emma Ibernat in arts teacher. Jeremy Abba is a design technology teacher. Kusepi and Galo Palma, music teacher, doing a great job too. Gabi Cole, our English teacher. Florence Puku, French, and Mame Jara is the PE teacher.
Great.
And for leadership recognition, we recognize our high school English teacher, Kate Upshur, and the hardworking high school students for putting a great performance of Fools by Neil Simon. A lot of work, a lot of hours of repetition. And Master Berry, who worked hard to make sure that all the teachers' agreement were finalized and sent on time.
Woohoo, Marsha.
Remember, we don't have an HR person, so she's doing part of it. So a lot of work. It was nervous, and Stephen worked together to have sent everything. So we have had 102 signed out of 107. So there are only 5 who have not signed their contract for next year.
That's great.
So great thing we did this year is starting early. We start early and send the contract now. We used to send intent to return or to leave in February, but we sent it early, mid-February, so by now we know who's committing to stay or not. In the past, we would have tracked all the way to end of April. And then that's when you know, and then if people don't come, especially with this visa issue, I'm just going to talk about it. So a problem of visa is that one of our sponsors contacted us and said her concern is not about the visa per se, the immigration, but mainly the understaffed embassies and consulate. They're understaffed, which means that the process of getting an appointment will take a significant amount of time. So that's why she was advising us to be quick in terms of hiring and the process. At this point, we have been very successful hiring. Most of the teachers we had, except for 2, rejected our offer. And the great thing is, I believe that the salary level is no longer an obstacle anymore. And I know that, thank you board members for making a significant decision. We know that some of our teachers would have probably left us, would stay. It's not because our schools, is a great environment, but the people need more money. So I think we did a good job, and I've had a lot of good feedback from teachers thanking us for raising the salaries.
Well, thank you for bringing that to us.
Good job. So you continue to the classroom data dashboard. As I explained before, every teacher has a dashboard where they monitor the kids' progress and making sure that those who need help are helped. It's coded in blue for advanced, green for corruption, and yellow for basic, and then red below basic, making sure that they're supporting those kids, those who are struggling, making sure that everybody is where they should be. So it's working well. 26, 25th hiring, I said, K5, we hired only 4 teachers, and there's 3 more offers being sent and 4 in progress. We think that by the end of the month, probably we'll finish hiring. For middle and high school, we don't have a lot of vacancy, but we have, with the growth, we're hiring an additional math teacher for 6th grade. And then also hiring an additional music teacher. We budgeted it, but we never had, we were able to hire a music teacher. So we have a second music teacher for choir.
Oh, good.
And then, and another one for instrument. So that's what we'll be offering for next year. And what else? I think we have 1 teacher retiring that needs to be replaced. So, Black History Month celebration and activities at the whole campus went well.
On the classroom data dashboard, that'll be reviewed in the performance committee?
No, it's not part of that. What
It's not, okay.
It's a class level.
Okay.
The performance committee is reviewing the district dashboard.
Okay, but they don't, you guys don't
They don't
review
go
it
all
in
the way
the
to class.
level? Okay. You're like, oh, no.
So it's the district level, they look at the dashboard about how different categories do.
Okay.
And then I look at also the building level with the principal.
Okay.
So who's retiring? Can you tell us?
She retired, came back, helped us a lot. I'm not going to give a name. Who was extremely determined, significant contribution to the high school. So I say, she was with us a long time, retired, and came back and has been teaching, and was the one almost coordinating all this buying and extremely helpful.
Yeah.
And last but not least, she traveled with kids. So that's where I can stop. So but I think she is well deserved retirement.
Yeah.
Great person, amazing. I know who you thought was retired.
I was worried, but I should be worried with this level.
Okay. Yes. So scholastic book fair at Oak and Cherry concert is this week.
Anyone who wants to come out on Wednesday and hear my son, hear Lisa's son, they'll be there.
Yeah, these kind of events are also good for building belonging and pride and also retention. People don't realize that, but it comes when parents come out of it and are very amazed. It's good. STEAM night is coming up again. I mean, Principal's Coffee was great, and it was an opportunity for us to go and talk about the bond. And I think it was well attended, at least for the two I attended. The Cherry with Michelle, and then the Armour one too. A lot of question about the bond. STEAM night, very popular too on March the 27th. I think it's going to be the same one at the Rockers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always really good.
Yeah. So for operation, transportation is currently doing training with TransFinder, because TransFinder is software that will be taking care of all our transportation system. They have been doing training and updating and putting things together. Hopefully by the end of April, we should be able to implement everything. That's our target, especially the routing and bus tracking by parents. New bus was delivered last week. On March 1st, we bought 3 buses. One was delivered, it's running, and 2 more will be coming in the next 2 weeks. At this point, our buses have been pretty on time. I haven't heard any complaint. I don't know if on Air Farm I've had anything, but they're doing pretty well. And even here, they have been on time, and yes, well done. Missouri State Highway Patrol bus inspection will be on March 21st. And then we just talked about the negotiation of the property for the bus bond. It will be fantastic to have all our buses. Rick went there with Evergy to look at where we may put the outlet for the electrical buses. And the great thing about having our own thing is for our field trips. Rick was telling me for Wildwood we'll have our 2 buses. Remember we have 3 spare buses, so 2 of them, unless we have another problem, but we can go to Wildwood, wait for the kids and bring them back. So which is good. Facilities, all location pass inspection. So before the week of March the 3rd, clean up for the start of the week of 10th. And the HVAC motor, we have some HVAC issues, motor installed at Armour campus week of 7th. And then we also looking at estimate and cost for the turfs. You remember the 2 turfs we are trying to renovate or do for Cherry and Oak. Having a cost would help us at least know once the bond is passed to know what to do. Milk cards going effect. Milk card are being implemented. We've lost a lot of money at the milk part, but now kids will buy milk card and then twist punch. So that's what we're doing. And the food audit was completed with CNR. I think we had less issues that we were afraid of. We were afraid that we would have issue for the audit. I think it's around 3 kids probably. The audit.
That's the same audit from last year.
Yeah, it's
just concluded.
Concluded, okay.
It was all of the caps they finally got all
approved. They approved with it? Okay, good.
So how do parents know to buy a milk card? Is it the same way you buy lunches?
It's in the newsletter.
No,
Okay.
I
haven't read the newsletter last week.
The old way of buying lunches.
Okay.
They just
Okay,
bring
so
money
on
and
the
buy
site.
it. They can buy the card online.
Yeah,
And the kids the cards stay at the school.
Yes.
So whenever they come and then they get the card, and so they won't lose it. Okay, good. I know Chair, you have been doing that for years now.
We're just going back to it.
Going back to
Just
that.
going back.
No more technology, that's good. It's resistant to all these technologies.
yep. Okay.
Any other questions about anything? Thank you very much.
All right, and we already talked about the GO bond, but does anybody have any other questions about it, understanding it? Nothing. My last thing is just the reminder on the Ethics Commission. I could read the names of the people who haven't answered it yet.
You should have got mine off of it today.
Yes, that's right, you did yours, yes.
So you didn't get a glare.
Yeah.
What is it again?
But I won't say, whoops, I just confused you.
Did I do it or not?
No, you have not.
So what is
And
it?
remember, there are two things right now, because Roger is asking you to do the
Well, I
two-factor,
did.
yeah. And
Right,
then
I
this
think
is
everybody here, you weren't on the list of not having done it, but we should look at it.
The
Roger thing.
two-factor.
The
You've done the
two-factor-
I think I
two-factor.
did that.
Right, you
Yeah.
did that. You're
Okay,
not
so
on
that I
that
did not.
Yeah.
That's the
I'll get
list.
on, I'll
So
get
what's
on.
the Ethics Commission?
So it is a letter that you would have received in the mail, and if you, so, and you would have gotten an email back if you finished it, so look in your email and see if you have it, and if so, I would
Okay,
say
if I don't have
forward
the
it to
letter, we're
you,
ready to get it.
if he's got
Did
the,
you do it online or hard copy? If you did it hard copy, it's possible you sent it in.
Yeah, and they just haven't processed it yet.
It was to a law firm, right? You
yes.
sent to a law firm?
No,
No,
that's
that
different. The
wasn't
law
that.
firm is the
Personal
audit.
financial.
No, that was yeah.
Okay.
Disclosure.
Yeah, we should
Personal
follow.
financial
And I'm on Roger's list, but you guys will check on that because I didn't.
Right.
I
So,
I think he sent
I'll
it back
tell
to
him
everybody.
to,
He sent me an email as well, but I know you've done it. He just sent it to everybody again, even though you've done
Oh,
it.
okay, he did send it to everybody.
I mean, I got it, I did.
Yes, it was an automated response. It's this, look what I had in my bag. But it's this that you would have received from the Missouri. And if
I
you,
find it much easier online.
yeah, if you go online,
I didn't get mine either.
there's that, and when you go on, I think if you filed online before, then it stores your
It's
ID.
That's the reason to do it.
It makes it super, yeah.
And for those of you who will be easing off the board, you have one more to do. This isn't the
Right,
last.
yes, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you're free.
Yes.
Because I've had people get off the board like, ooh, what am I doing with that? And they get the notice and they don't respond. I'm like, I'm not on the board, and then they get a fine.
Mhm.
So you don't wanna
Yeah.
be that person.
Yes. Okay, any other questions on that? Then we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.